Sorry about that. Kept kicking me off. I don't know.
Dude, got to remember to sign out when you get out of Belmonte's. Can't stay connected.
Yeah, because I hosted the last meeting, that was the problem.
Hi, everyone. Sorry we're late. We had some technical difficulties, but we'll be right back out here in a second, and we'll get going.
Brooke, is that your auntie? Yes, good. She got on.
She's on there.
Okay, good.
Okay.
You have a little bit of an entourage. Looks like a little fan club, huh?
Love it. I love it.
They find you, Dunbar, whether you're in Washington or California.
You can thank my mom for that. So.
Oh, okay.
We're very supportive, and of course, all my kids play soccer too. So.
Oh, good.
Ralph, you're a host now, so you can do what you like. You can admit anybody else that joins and stuff like that.
All right, Kevin, thanks. You guys okay if I start, or you want to wait a little bit more?
I guess you could start at 6:10. So.
Okay. All right. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us tonight for our alumni interview. Again, if you haven't already, remember to please mute yourself and then use the chat feature. And if you have a question, go ahead and type it out, and we'll get to it as soon as we can in the interview. My name is Ralph Montez, and Justin Sealander is with me, and we're going to do the interview with tonight. We have Brooke Dunbar and Claire Howard, two amazing players who played on the legendary Freeze team here. So we're just really super excited to have them tonight, and we welcome them, and thanks for sharing your time tonight, you two. All right, Justin, take it away.
Okay, well, thank you, Ralph. Girls, such an honor to be able to have you come back and spread your little wisdom and your experiences. So we're proud to have you. Again, these two players played on by far one of the best women's teams ever to come out of Santa Rosa United, the 97 Freeze. I think in their career here, they won 3 state championships, many more accolades and trophies and prizes along the way. But I want to start with you, Dunbar, Miss Brooke. I can remember first seeing Brooke. She was probably about 9 years old. You saw this huge red flaming hair flying down the field, this left-footed bomber. She was so fast. She was dicing people, loved to take people on and dribble at an early age. But this left foot was ferocious, and she was scoring goals at will when she was just a little kid. So Brooke, maybe you can start by just telling us, how did you start playing soccer, and what was your first little experiences with the game?
Yeah, I started playing soccer at a really young age, around 4, 5. It kind of started out with me going and watching my older sister play soccer, and she wasn't much of a soccer player, but I loved watching the games and whatnot, so my parents introduced me to doing it. They put me in dance, but I was way too aggressive and way too clumsy for that, so soccer just worked out perfectly. And I just started playing at a young age on just a local club team, and then I just loved it. I loved the game. I loved my teammates. I loved being my coach. I think my dad was my first coach and my neighbor that lives down the street. And so I just started at a really young age, and it just clicked, and I kind of stick with that sport all the way up through college.
How old were you when you came to Santa Rosa United? Do you remember?
I think I came to Santa Rosa United around 5th or 6th grade. I can't really remember. Claire was on the team with me, so is that right, Claire? Yeah, and I've been there ever since. So yeah, I think 9 or 10.
Okay. And Claire, dynamic goalkeeper, amazing hands of steel. I think I nicknamed her Honey Hands or Sticky Paws when she was about 10 or 11 at United. Claire, my first memories of seeing you, you were playing on Atletico actually, and I was coaching the Freeze in 2008. You guys had to be like, what, I don't know, 9 or 10, and we played you guys over at Placer, and we had a hard time trying to beat that team. There was this goalkeeper in there that was amazing, and I can remember after the game, I went over and John Gilson was your coach. I asked to talk to your parents, and I said, man, all these girls from Santa Rosa between these two clubs, if you girls ever play on the same.
You're muted, Justin.
Sorry, both of you girls, you played for Santa Rosa for the Freeze for what, 7 or 8 years, and your team always had such a cohesion. You guys always were smiling, laughing. You guys always seemed to like love to be together. Tell us a little bit about, maybe Brooke, you can start. What was your team about? What kind of influence did they have on you? Go ahead. What was
So,
the Freeze about?
at first, when we joined the Freeze, it was almost like half girls that had come from Atletico because I started with Claire, and then half United girls. And so at first, we were just trying to get to know each other, but then after that, once we combined, we played together ever since then. We were best friends on the field, but also off the field. And I think that we just all had the same mindset, is that we were playing this because we loved it and we had fun doing it, and that's why we were smiling on the field and pushing ourselves. And we became a family. Our parents are still friends today. We still talk to each other, and so it just kind of started that at 6th grade, and then from there on, we just stayed together. And I think it just all was on the foundation that we loved soccer and we loved what we were doing and we were having fun doing it.
Claire, you want to add a little bit about your experience with your team and what that meant to you?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I think that a lot of people from United remember the Freeze as like winning these great games, like all this stuff. But I think at the end of the day, like we were just more worried about the relationship aspect. And like Brooke said, we still all hang out. We still text all the time. And it's never to like relive the soccer part of it. It's just to relive all those memories and the relationships that we were like blessed with, like a coaching staff that put us together and saw our potential as players, and then a family that grew from that. And like Brooke said, it was based off the foundation of that we loved the game, but we loved the game because of who we got to do it with. So it's pretty special.
Well, I don't think everyone knows, but at Christmas time, I was out to dinner, and you two happened to be sitting over at the table next to me. And so I will attest that now, 4 or 5 years later, you are still friends. So playing at Santa Rosa United, you then both got to go and play at the Dynasty Maria Carrillo High School. Claire, I mean, going in, making as a freshman, what was your experience at Maria Carrillo High School like?
It was awesome. I mean, definitely terrifying. I don't know if you know the names like Katie Moore and Allie Schaefer and people like that. I was a freshman when they were seniors, and Carrillo had already been building that dynasty of being like the women's soccer team in the city. So joining a program like that was definitely nerve-wracking at first, but there was a big group of us that made it as freshmen, and it was a lot of Freeze players. So it's kind of that same club atmosphere, but it was definitely nerve-wracking.
Yeah. And how was your career there? You played varsity 4 years. You were what? All league, all Empire, Golden Gloves, couple NCS championships. You tell us, what was your run of accolades when you were in high school, Claire?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the biggest one that like I would pride myself on is all of our team accolades. And so in my time at Creo, I think we lost 2 games. We went to New York my senior year and lost in New York, and that was the first loss that I had ever experienced. And then that same season,
Your
we also
senior year, huh? First loss?
yeah, all the way to my
Wow,
senior
impressive.
year. And then we turned around a couple months later and lost to Montgomery for the first time at home. But no, it's pretty cool. So we were 4-time NCS champs, and during that time we were like national champions for the fall for some, I don't even know what it's called anymore. But and then had some personal accolades that I'm like defensive player and all that stuff, but it's definitely all the team championships that I remember most.
Brooke, maybe you can add a little highlight of what your soccer career experience was at Carrillo.
Going in as a freshman, I was so scared. Like that'd be the number one word to sum it up. But then when I got there, I realized, it's just like another team. You just got to go in there and work hard, and that's what I did. And a couple of us were able to make varsity as freshmen, which was super fun and exciting. And honestly, my years at playing soccer at Career were some of my favorite years. From winning to all the team dinners that we did, to traveling, to Monday fitness and everything. It was just all so fun, and it's definitely different than playing club, but you can transfer a lot of the same things you learned over to high school. And I think if you're able to play high school soccer, I really recommend it because definitely helps you in different ways, and it's another way to build relationships. And it's some of my favorite memories looking back at my soccer career.
So I think there's probably quite a few young ladies on the webinar tonight that are maybe like following in the same path as you two, and they might be freshmen coming up at one of the high schools around here. What I noticed that both of you mentioned that you were very nervous, and of course we know that comes, but maybe what's one or two words of advice for those young players coming into high school, what they can look forward to or expect?
I would just say the biggest thing is that remember it's soccer. Like regardless if you're United or a different high school, it all boils down to it's soccer. You guys have played for so long. You guys know what to do. And always just like have your creative flair to it. Like Brooke has a certain style when she plays. Like I have a certain style when she plays, when I play. And I think it's like super important that regardless of where you go when you end up, you never lose that personal touch that you have.
Yeah, I would say just be yourself on the field and off the field. And, it's like Claire said, it's just, another soccer pitch, just different players you're playing against and maybe some of the same people you play in club. And just have fun with it because it's only 4 years you'll ever be able to play in high school, and take every moment. And it's super exciting when you have those like night games and, cherish every moment.
Well, that's great advice, ladies. We love that. Before I talk about your next little journey into college, Claire, you are one of those players that for me as a coach, I always enjoyed like going out to the field and seeing you either working on your own or always with Mr. Gilson, and you pushed yourself very hard. You play in a very, very difficult, unique position. If players don't know, she's a big time goalkeeper. Claire, what do you think is some of the, maybe you can tell us what are some of the keys to your success of the hard work? Like what got you to be such a hardworking player like you are?
Well, one of the things that John and I would always talk about when I was younger is that for those of you don't know, I'm like 5'7", and as a goalkeeper, that is like very short, especially at the Division I level. And so that was something that I was always fighting against and pushed me to work harder. But one of like the biggest pieces of advice that John always taught me, and it like had stuck with me now, even through being a collegiate athlete, is always just control what you can control. And you can always control your effort. You can always control how you respond to things and how hard you work. And so I knew that if I had the ability to control how hard I worked, where the level of my fitness was going to be, how gritty I was as a goalkeeper, then I knew that I would potentially be on the path for success. But I would just say that remaining in focus of what I can control and not getting stuck and worried about the other things.
How much do you think you trained on your own to like perfect your position, Claire? Be honest.
A lot.
A lot. Give me like just a rounded number. Like, because weekly you were out there every day after practice all the time. I mean, honestly,
yeah, I mean,
you put more soccer into your soccer probably off of practice than in, right?
Yeah, I mean, in the thick of it, John and I would probably train 3 or 4 times a week. I remember when we were younger and his daughter Danny was still playing, we would just go mess around and do trainings twice a day in the summer just because that was like fun for us. Like Danny would come out and shoot on me and we'd train in the morning. Then we'd go home, rest, and just go back out because it was fun. So in the thick of it, a lot of hours.
So Brooke, real quick, when you were in high school and I think even junior high, I got the honor to coach both of you actually in the PDP program a little bit. And you both did a little bit of extra soccer besides just your club. Brooke, you got to play with a lot of great players out there from rival clubs and other areas. Maybe give us a little bit of your experience of also playing in different programs.
Yeah, so some of the programs are, and they might be different now, but like PDP and like ID2 and whatnot. And me and Claire would always make that trip down every Wednesday to Danville or Modesto or wherever it was that when, well, our parents would drive us. But we'd make it, and I love doing it. We leave school early and we get there and we were exhausted after, training the day before or whatnot. But it was so fun to play against people or play with people that you had been playing against, the weekends before in league and whatnot. And plus we'd be playing against people that were at a higher level than you were. And you kind of like, those people were my age, but I looked up to them and the skill they had. And I was being exposed to different coaches at that point going there, and they had a lot of different styles. So it was super exciting and to be able to have the opportunity to go do that. And honestly, I'm still friends with a lot of the people that I was introduced with through PDP, and I've actually played against some of them in college, which is kind of exciting to, be able to hug them after a game and be like, I knew you when you were like 10 or 11. So it's developed a lot of relationships, and I think it made me better, definitely on the skill side and also knowing the game a lot better. I got to listen to a lot of different inputs on what like coaches have to say, and it made me see the pitch and the players in the field a little different.
Nice. Claire, you started at Maria Carrillo, and then you went off to play at the University of Montana. Woohoo! Tell us a little bit about how did Montana find you, and maybe you can share a little bit about what you're doing now up there, because I think you have another year, and just a little bit about your journey up in Montana.
So University of Montana was never initially on my radar. I knew when I started the recruiting process that college football was something that was super big for me. And I knew that I wanted to go to a school that had football, had basketball, competed at a high level, in a program that won championships in their respective conference. And it was my junior summer. We were in Seattle trying to qualify for ECNL Nationals. And I was about a week away from committing to the University of Utah. And the old head coach at Montana, who's no longer my head coach, he came and sat down, and he was there before warm up and stayed the entire game. And I remember him walking up to Trisha Zemer and telling her that he wanted me on his team, and that I just had to visit Montana, just like give him one chance. And Trish was like thrilled, over the moon, thought it'd be such a great place for me. And my parents were super excited, and everybody just told me, go visit, like give it a shot. You never know what you're going to think of it and stuff. And for those of you who don't know, Montana, it's Missoula, Montana, and it gets cold. Like winters are freezing, but summers are absolutely beautiful. You get all 4 seasons there. And so I went and visited right before they started their preseason. So it was perfect temperature. I stepped on campus and it felt like home. Everybody talks about you get that feeling when you know, and I absolutely had that feeling with Montana, that I knew this is where I wanted to spend my next 4, now 5 years. And so I went on my visit. I came home, and I think I was committed like a week later, and everything just kind of fell into place. And then so I came, and my freshman season, I ended up redshirting, and it was for the reason that there was a senior goalkeeper, and so I knew that I wasn't going to get any minutes really, and I just didn't want to burn a year of eligibility. And that's the thing with goalkeeping. You have to like find the right fit, because oftentimes there is only one goalkeeper that plays the entire game or for seasons at a time. And so I was lucky enough that she was a senior, I was a freshman. So I just redshirted my freshman season, and I've been lucky enough that I've started every game ever since. And I'm going into my 5th year this fall. and it's just been a great experience. I've had so much like personal growth, team growth, and Montana, just like Eastern, Brooke School, that are both in the conference. The two of our programs are two of the most successful in the Big Sky. We've each won championships. We've each gone to the NCAA tournament. So it's been a super great experience, and I've loved every minute of it.
And you're so humble, Claire, but why don't you tell everyone your big honor this year? What did you do to set the school record?
I broke the school shutout record, and
Yes.
I'm 3 shutouts away from breaking the conference record.
Look at you, leaving your legacy everywhere you go still, girl. How many colleges did you talk to, Claire, in your recruiting process? Do you remember?
Oh, a lot. There were so many
20
different ones.
more?
How many?
20 more?
Oh gosh, probably right around 20.
Around 20.
I mean, I started to weed them out pretty fast, and then I recognized that I probably wanted to go out of California.
And,
so that
and girls, you know, I always do talk about your state championships. I always talk about your bond, you girls. But what impresses me is there was 14 of you to go on to play college off of that team. You guys went to schools like Montana, like Eastern Washington, like LMU, Seattle Pacific, Oregon, Notre Dame, Santa Clara, Virginia, Air Force. You have big names in there and big players. So I was always impressed. I think that we also have some up-and-coming girls teams that could have the same kind of numbers going on to college if they want that. You girls have left your legacy. We'll see now if they leave theirs. Brookie, how many schools did you talk to in your recruiting career or process? Do you remember?
Probably around the same amount.
And you ended up going to Eastern Washington, right?
Yeah.
And you are, what, a 5th year there, or you're graduating?
Yeah, I'm graduating this June. I didn't redshirt, so I've played the 4 years, so my eligibility is up. So I'm done with soccer.
How did they find you?
Yeah, it's kind of different how they found me. I started talking to schools, I think, end of 8th, beginning of freshman year, and it was strictly California schools. I was convinced I was going to stay in California. That's like what I wanted. I had a very closed mind. Like, I didn't think about going out of state. And then like end of sophomore year, I started having communication with Eastern Washington, and they were like pretty new. They hadn't like done much, and I was like, oh, they hadn't won anything. Like, you know, why go look at the school? And my parents were like, well, you know, give it a try. Like, let's go up there and go visit. And I visited, and, you know, they sat me down and they're like, this is a new program. You know, we want to make a difference. New coaches, it's a family. You know, we want to start fresh, and like we want you to be a part of starting fresh. Like we want you to come as a freshman and make that difference. And like hearing that they wanted me, and they were like, I was joining like this new team, maybe not such a long legacy they had, but their goal was to leave one. And so it was super exciting. And then I go in there my freshman year, and we win and we go to the NCAA tournament my first year and play
Nice.
USC. So it was awesome. And then second, my sophomore year, we win. We go to NCAAs, and we play the back-to-back national championships, which was USC again. I don't know how we got in twice. And we lost in double overtime with like 5 minutes left. So it goes to show like a small school has a chance of, you know, competing against the bigger schools. And that's something that I really liked. And then on the, you know, academic side, I really enjoyed a small campus. You know, my classes were no bigger than 10. I got all 4 seasons. I was right next to Gonzaga, so the basketball games, snow. I was like really excited about that for some reason. Now that I think of it, those winters were pretty brutal, just like Missoula. And all in all, I had a great 4 years, and I was able to like accomplish a lot there. And we were able to like set some records as a team. And I was, you know, personally and on the field able to grow. So it was awesome.
Well, ladies, that's awesome little experience you're sharing. Love to hear all that about you girls. I have one more quick little question, and then I want to pass it over to Mr. Gilson and get him to ask you girls some juicy info. My one question is this. I live very close to both of you. I know you've grown up like a block or two away from each other. You went to school together, high school together. You were fortunate enough to play in the same conference in college. Brooke, to have a goalkeeper that's so good, and what kind of confidence, what does that do as a field player, knowing you have somebody like that behind you and you can play your soccer in front? What does that do? What was it like?
Well, playing against her sucked. I will add that in there because
You didn't
trying
have
score
to too
against
much,
her
though,
was hard.
right?
But having her as a goalkeeper, I just always knew that she was going to get the back line in formation. Because one thing, if you know about Claire, and if you ever go watch a game where she's playing, is she is loud. And her communication is super clear, and it's even gotten better in college because I'm right there hearing her scream it. And she just has the way with, she's confident, she's calm, and she's cool and collected. She's all of that. She knows where she's going to be, and she knows that if the ball's coming to her, she's going to stop it. So her confidence is something that I think helped all of us when we stepped on the field. And she was like, I got in the back line, you go up there and do your job and score some goals. So, having her be confident made everyone else on the field feel like they could accomplish their own individual goals.
That's awesome. Hey, Brooke, we know goalkeepers are crazy, but Claire never shows any of that craziness. Please tell us something crazy about her. She's so sweet and nice. Come on, there's got to be something. I'm just kidding. Hey, Ralphie, let's bring Johnny on. He can fire away. He'll be great.
All right, John, you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
What's up, Coach?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys. And everything. So, a couple things real quick. Like, I obviously had a pleasure of coaching both of you guys, and along with Justin as well. I don't know, Ralph, if you were able to coach him. I know you were there for a lot of games and like that. There's a couple things that stand out about these guys is that at every practice, the Freeze and that team practiced very hard. They competed every time they practiced, and I think that would attribute to a lot of their success. As every time we stepped on the field to practice, they battled each other, which obviously made them much better, and they competed within the team. But it was a friendly competition, and but it was it's what got them there. I think. With that said, there's a couple memories that I have from both you guys, and I'd like to share it with you guys. One is some of you guys didn't know this, but Brooke was a goalkeeper for a very, very short time. And I don't know if she recalls this, but I think she does, just like her reaction. I think we were in Davis, and actually Michelle was coaching, and I'm not sure if we were winning or losing, but it was very hot. Remember that, Brooke? I don't know if you remember. And
it was so hot we had the things around her neck, and stuff. Yeah.
So we put Brooke into the goal, and I don't know if it was even in there for 30 seconds or a minute. And the next thing you know is I'm not sure if she didn't realize that she was wearing gloves, but she didn't realize she could use her hands or not. And the first shot at her hit her right square in the nose. And she was bleeding all over the place, ruined the gloves and everything. And so that was the last time I ever saw Brooke in the goal. So that was it's just something that always hits me when I see her. But the other part of that with Brooke is I'm not surprised she played in college, because as a lot of coaches are looking for special attributes, and Brooke definitely had that special attribute, and one of them is that she was a left-footed player. She was able to use her left foot and being strong, which allows coaches to balance out the field. And Brooke was able to play several positions, and it was nice to see that if we needed an outside left back or outside left midfielder or play up top, or she could actually go and play in the middle. I mean, I think you played almost everywhere for the Freeze, didn't you? So that's to me that's a really big attribute for Brooke, looking like that. As far as Claire, I remember a couple of things. First, when we played her a game at Rincon Valley Christian, and Claire wasn't enamored with being a goalkeeper at the start, I remember, and we put her in the goal, and I promised her, you're only going to be in there 15 minutes, and we'll get you out and like that. And then she came up with this save. I don't know if it was a one-on-one or not. And then the 15 minutes got up and said, "Okay, Claire, let's get you out of there." And she kind of waved me off, and she finished out that whole the whole half, and from there, I think she just started realizing that, man, I like this. I like the pressure, and I like how I have control of the game and everything like that. So with that said, there's one game that I don't know if you guys recall all as a freeze with as the last game that I actually was able to coach you guys. I don't know if you remember the cars from the other team showing up at the field in Elk Grove. Justin, you were there. You and Dave were there, and they had this was a state championship game, and the team that we were playing was a very good team in Mustang, and the parents had put up stuff all over their cars. So I think, was it Colorado you guys went to for? Was it Colorado, or where were you guys headed if we won the championship?
Idaho, I think.
Idaho. I mean, they had it on our way to Idaho. They already had the game won and like that. And then Justin was there, and it was and we won convincingly. I think we won 2-1. Was that what it was? But it was convincing. I mean, it was 2-0 until late, and I think I don't think it was shocking to us. I think that the Freeze team had an inner belief that they were going to do it. But definitely was a surprise to Mustang. They came in, I think, way overconfident, and I'll never forget that. While I think they thought we were the underdog, I don't think we did. I don't think the Freeze did. But Justin, you were there. You can comment on that.
Claire, Turbo wasn't scoring on you that game, was she?
So great memory. Hey, the one question I have for both you guys, and obviously you're very talented. A lot of players are talented when you get into the college age game and like that. Can you give me a little bit, or give these guys a little idea about how important it is to be mentally tough? I know we know physically the game just beats you up and takes a lot out of you and everything like that, and there are times where you're just like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, especially in college, I would imagine, and there's times where you gut it out. Tell me, can you guys share with everybody a little about your mental toughness and getting through the 4 years of college age? Claire, you've got another year, but getting through those 4 years. Go ahead, either one of you.
And also add in there the diverse. Also add in there something about how, working through injuries, or did you guys go through all that you've played in college with no injuries?
Yeah, so once you get to college, the whole recruiting and everything is super exciting. But once you get there, you're playing against girls that are, 22 years old, ranging to that age. So you're definitely going in there, and, there's people that have been playing there longer, and it's different in that sense that you kind of have to earn your right. You have to go to practice each day fighting for, your time on the field, because it's in college, they're not playing, the whole team. You have 28 to 30 people in a roster, and only 11 can play on the field. So it's definitely humbling when you get in there, and, but I think for me personally, I'd work, you have to work hard, go to practice every day with the right mindset that, I'm going to score that goal. I'm going to win that tackle, and prepare off the field, go to bed early, eat healthy, do what's right in the classroom. And I think that all really helped me perform well on the field. And, mentally just be aware that criticism is going to be there, and, take that to fuel your fire instead of let it take you down. For me, that is what, I had to come across, because, in college, it's not always, sweet and sugarcoating things. They're going to tell you how it is, because, you want to win that championship. You want to go to NCAA tournament, and you only have 4 years to do it. And so, just being mentally tough that way, and, filtering what people say and helping it make you better instead of letting it tear you down. And with injury, I was battling I'm left-footed as an ankle injury, and I ended up having to make a decision to get a surgery after my sophomore year. And, I decided that's what's best for me, and it was going to make me perform better. And so I had to miss a lot of winter training, and off-season training is actually really big in college. You have to, lift weights, you're doing fitness and everything. It's bettering you to get to that spring season, to that fall season. And so I missed 2 to 3, maybe 4 months of that. And so I had to battle through that, not getting down and seeing, other people grow as I was not getting better. but I just did the things that I could make me better. And then after, you know, I was able to have my first jog. I made the best jog I could do the first time, you know, being able to sprint, the first time taking the ball, you just, you know, push through that. And I'm fully recovered. So that's awesome. And I just think, you know, not letting things tear you down and just letting it, you know, fuel your fire and make you do better.
I completely agree. And one thing that I have to say with that is that it's hard. Like, as much as we talk about how great college soccer is, it's absolutely the best experience that I've ever had. But I'd be lying to you guys if I said that there weren't hard days. There weren't days that I just questioned why I did it. And I think the one thing that gets you through that is during the recruiting process, you have to find the place that is like right for you. And you have to find a place that you're going to fall in love with, because if you're at a place that you love, those hard days become bearable. And I know I grew up just like Brooke. We've grown up with so many players who have gone to a school and haven't loved where they're at. And so those hard days start to overwhelm them. And the both of us were fortunate enough that we loved where we were at. We loved what we got to do. So we knew that those bad days were going to be few and far between, but we just like continued to push through for the fact that we like loved being a Grizz and we loved being an Eagle. And so I think that's like my biggest piece of advice, that like you have to be mentally tough, like Brooke said, but you also have to find a spot that you can do it where you love. And that's what I just like want to offer to you guys as you go through this process. And then injury wise, knock on wood, I've been like very, very fortunate. The only like major injury that I had, so it was my sophomore year. It was a preseason game and I came out for a 1v1 save, and the girl was wearing metal studs, which is like illegal. You can't do that. And she slid into me and I ended up having to get close to 50 stitches above my knee. And I have this huge scar across my leg now. And I was very lucky that if she would have gone any deeper, she would have like cut my femoral artery and it would have been like a way worse story. But so that happened and I just like went into the training room, got it stitched up and like played that next week. And it took a long time to heal because I just like refused to sit out. So my stitches would keep breaking and they finally like took me to Washington State to get it properly stitched up. But other than that, I've been like very fortunate with injury.
You're a beast.
I think something to add too is that I don't know who told me, but it was really good advice from maybe Luke or, you know, during the college process, is that like they said, say you do get an injury and you're not playing, are you happy to be there? Are you there for, you know, for the academics? Are you there for your friends that you made and stuff? If you're not able to be on the field, are you happy there? So I think for all you that are maybe looking at possibly going to college and are in that process of making a decision, like if you were to get injured or something were to happen, are you happy outside of soccer? So I think it's also something to consider.
Yeah, I think those things are great. Ada, I'm in there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, John.
So I think all those things are just great, great things, guys. I think and there's a trend right now of players not finishing up their 4 years of eligibility. And so for you guys to finish up your 4 years, I know, again, and Claire, you have another year here, but like if you look at like Maddie Gonzalez and Megan Moore from last week and many other players that are finishing out, again, and I think one of the things, and we say this all the time, but I'm not sure if we really mean it all the time, is do we truly love the game? And I know that we're all sitting here, and I'm not trying to preach here, but Justin, Ralph, and I mean, we played in college and played beyond college, and what kept us going through that stuff, and I'm sure, or if Claire and Brooke can talk about a little, is just the pure love of the game, and that's why we're still doing this in a lot of respects. Next, do you guys have any plans for doing anything after? I know, Brooke, you're done now, but Claire, how about you as well?
Yeah, I'm hoping to chase the game a little longer. I mean, I'm healthy. Goalkeeping is still my absolute passion. And so I definitely do. After my next season, I'm going to try to chase the game for a little longer.
Great. Brooke?
My ankle is kind of an old person's ankle right now. Probably will be getting another surgery in the next couple months. So my focus is applying to grad school and becoming a nurse practitioner. So it's the next step in my career.
Good for you. but just to get through your 4 years, and what a testament that about, sometimes you're laying in bed probably at night and you're wondering, why am I doing this? Yes, I'm sure Brooke with your ankle, and Claire obviously with your those stitches and like that at some point. I mean, the game does question. I mean, you have to question it sometimes, and I think the love of the game is what brings you back. So I think there's other questions, Ralph. Some of the other players might want to ask them. I don't want to take up the rest of the time.
Yeah, no worries. The one question we have here is for Claire. Someone asked, Claire, is that a Santa Rosa United backpack on your hook behind you?
No, it's not. It's our team backpack. Does it look like the United ones?
It does.
Okay.
Any
Hey, I have one or
questions?
two. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Justin.
Well, I was just gonna say that it's funny, girls, because I had a lot of questions and I gave you guys some, but during all of your explanations, you guys gave so many like good tips and so much good information. I love hearing all of it, and I think a lot of the players are really gonna enjoy like hearing from players that were not too long ago in their same position and in their same shoes, and they're now getting great words of advice. So we really appreciate that, ladies. One of two of your give us your like biggest highlights of Santa Rosa United as a youth. Like, I know I saw you guys play in Idaho, regionals, at Surf Cups, all over the country, but what were some of your highlights?
I think that for me, one of the best experiences, like a trip that we ever had, is our 8th grade year. We went to the Gothia Cup, or I think it was like to go to the Gothia Cup or something, and we got to play at the Nike headquarters. And
Is that the Man City
Yeah.
tournament?
Yeah.
Maddie had that as her highlight too. That's
really,
funny.
yeah, that was definitely one of the best trips.
Yeah.
John,
I really had him there, huh? Brooke, what was your highlight?
Oh, goodness. Well, that was mine because the Nike headquarters are pretty cool. But when we finally made it past Seattle and we're able to go to Virginia. Like, we were stuck at semifinals in Seattle for like good 2 or 3 years, and we finally were the first Santa Rosa United team to make it to the finals for ECNL or whatnot, and we're able to go back east to Virginia. So that was just super fun and something different.
And just to let people know what that meant is these girls were on a team that made it to the final 8 in the country. And so I want all the girls in the ECNL now to know, girls, it wasn't too long ago that one of our own was like trying to win a national championship from Santa Rosa United. We're a very small club. You guys all know this, but like anything can happen. And these girls are great, like a testament to hard work, loyalty, teamwork, trusting each other, all these incredible like commitment and dedication to their sport, all these things that make them such great people, but players. Ladies, one more little piece of advice. If you could leave one more little message for these young ballers, Claire or Brookie, you're the big girl now. And by the way, we want you to come out to the field too and do some sessions, especially you, Claire. Get out there with our Sophie Kerrigan. Can't wait to play with you over there. Hi, Soph. Yep. Go, girls.
One piece of advice I would have is just try to access the game in as many ways as possible. I think that like now that like Ralph, John, and all Justin putting these things on is great. I mean, I think that Brooke and I both learned so much from players who came before us, and watching soccer, watching videos, just try to absorb the game in as many ways as possible and seek all those different outlets, because every little bit helps in learning the game.
Nice.
Yeah, I would say use like as many resources as you can. Like, I can't tell you how many times like I text Justin, hey, can we get in like a training here, or John or whatnot, and we just go kick the ball around and work individually on your skill and like hone in what, like, I'm not good at my right foot, so when I go out there I'd kick way more balls with my right foot than my left, and work on your weaknesses and build it up, and it'll make you a much better player.
Ralphie, you want to ask a couple more?
Anybody else want to ask a couple questions of these two? Auntie, Kate?
Yeah, I'll ask a question. What the heck? So I'm Brooke's Aunt Kate. Brooke, I'm so proud of you. So my question really, and I've watched all you girls. I came to a lot of games at Carrillo. I live in Los Gatos now, but I lived in San Francisco, and I would come watch those games, those evening games. And I'm super, super proud of you guys and your hard work. And I have 3 kids playing soccer. And so I guess at the elementary and middle school level, like, what's your advice to these kids that want to get ahead? I mean, you've already talked to some of it, but like, what is that extra edge like to get you to be able to play in a college team and have the successes you had and have that sort of mental toughness and and passion for the game? What are your wise words for kids kind of coming up in their soccer clubs? We're in Los Gatos, but I've been to a lot of Santa Rosa United games and love you guys.
One thing that I would say is just kind of like, as you progress, just enjoy where you're at. That if they're like elementary school, like let them be elementary school soccer players. And that I think that everything evolves naturally, and that if it is their passion, then they will continue to work hard. But at like 10, 11, 12, like just getting them to go out and juggle in the backyard or pass the ball is like perfect. And I think that like oftentimes there's so many kids that like get burnt out because it was like shoved down their throat. So I think that just like let it happen naturally and organically, that if like turn on a soccer game one night and let them watch soccer, like I said, just go out and mess around, the 3 of them. I think that would just be like my biggest piece of advice, to just like enjoy where you're at in your process.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And just kind of having them going out and like watching older girl games is like really good, I think, because I did that a lot. And like kind of encouraging it, but not forcing it. And, I think watching a lot of soccer is like super important, like the women's national team or, European League or whatnot. I think it's super big to watch soccer. And once you start watching it, you get, you learn the game a little bit more, and it makes it a little more fun when you could like see people out there and like, I'm going to go try doing that.
Thank you guys for so much for sharing your journey with us here, and all your memories. And John, thank you for coming on as well. Brooke and Claire, we wish you the best in everything you do. Claire will be watching and keeping stats on you. Good luck to your season.
Thank you.
Brooke, where are you going to go to graduate school?
Wherever I get in.
Well, good luck with that.
Hey, good luck to both of you. And on behalf of Santa Rosa United and John and Ralph and all of us coaches and the staff, we really, really appreciate you girls spending the night with us. And we hope you players, you guys enjoyed it. And we hope you guys learned a lot. I'm sure if you ever want to contact Claire or Brooke, they'd be willing to talk to you, or hopefully we can get them out to the field. But big thank you, and United for you girls. And we want to leave the torch on to the next generation, ladies. So thank you again.
Yep. Thanks, girls.
Thanks, guys.
All right. United on 3. 1, 2, 3.
United.
Thank
See you guys.
Welcome.
Thanks, girls.
Yep.
you. They can hear you. I hate the people